Welcome to Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel. Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel. I am your host, Dee Manuel Cloud. I am a two-time breast cancer survivor, breast cancer recovery strategist. Let me say that again, breast cancer recovery strategist, a best-selling author, and also an international speaker. And I created Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel, to inspire, encourage, and motivate sisters who may find themselves on this breast cancer journey so that they can know that not only can life be good after breast cancer, but that it can be better than ever before. And today I have with me the gorgeous Ricki Fairley. Ricki, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to be here with us today.
Thank you for having me. And you forgot to say words about yourself like sweet, adorable, loving, caring, GSD, can I say shit, get shit done, amazing person that you are. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Ricki. See, this is going to be great. No, I'm joking. No, thank you. So Ricki is the founder and CEO of Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Organization. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Touch the Black Breast Cancer Alliance.
Yeah. And she does amazing things all over the country to bring awareness to breast cancer. And so she's always so super busy. So this is going to be an amazing interview and I can't wait to get into it. Ricki, tell us just real quick your age of diagnosis and the type of diagnosis. And I ask these questions because I feel like it helps our audience relate, because we always want to know, right, when you get inducted into this club, girl, what kind was it?
Right. Right. So I was 55, which is kind of old for triple negative. You know, I had triple negative, stage 3A triple negative, and 40% of triple negative breast cancer is women under 40, believe it or not. And Black women get it at 3 times the rate of white women, and we don't really know why. It's the worst breast cancer to have, and it's the only breast cancer subtype that doesn't have a drug to prevent recurrence. So you know how you take tamoxifen for 10 years, or you take something, a aromatase inhibitor. We don't have a drug for it, and so it has the worst mortality rate, the worst prognosis, and we only have 2 targeted therapies even now. 1 only for early stage and 2 for metastatic, which is crazy that we don't have drugs for this disease. So I had stage 3A. It was in my lymph nodes. I had a double mastectomy, because back then they did surgery first. And then I did 6 rounds of TAC, Taxotere, adriamycin, Cytoxan. And I had to do them all at once all in the same infusion. So I did 6.
Wow.
Like they didn't split it up like they do now. They just give it to you, man. And so I did.
Wow.
And then I did radiation, 6 weeks of radiation. And then they said, okay, you have no evidence of disease. Come back for a scan in 2 months. So it was almost exactly a year to the day of my first diagnosis that I went back. I had a PET scan. They found 5 spots on my chest wall. And my doctor, she had only had 2 cases of triple negative, and both of the women had died in 9 months. And she said, well, I have nothing for you. You have 2 years to live. Get your affairs in order. And I said, well, I can't really die right now. I have a daughter at Dartmouth. I got to pay tuition. So me, you, and God, and somebody, we got to work this out. Like, what are you going to do, girl? So I went to Dr. Google.
I love that. I don't have time to die right now.
Yeah, I can't. I got to get my kid through school. And she was my motivation. So I went to Dr. Google, which was not a good place. And everything said, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die fast. If you're Black, you're really going to die, right? And so finally, on the 3rd page of Dr. Google, I found the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. And I called then my dear friend, who's my dear friend now, Haley Dinnerman. She really saved my life. And she said, I'm going to find you a doctor. And I lived in Atlanta at the time. So she was able to find a doctor named Ruth O'Regan, who's a badass, amazing oncologist. And she was probably one of about 5 docs at the time that were actually researching triple negative. And so she put me on carboplatin, which is now standard of care, and Gemstar. And I did a lot more chemo. They were both experimental drugs for TNBC back then. They hadn't been approved for TNBC, but she said, let's try these drugs and see what happens. And I didn't die, and it's been 12 years. So it's my God job. God had another
God
plan
is
for
amazing.
me, and I know that he left me here to do this work.
I love that. God is so super amazing. And you know, one of the things that I love, Ricki, is that that has just been the theme of all of these spotlights on this YouTube channel, right? It is that every woman has given God the glory for her healing. And I didn't plan it that way, but I think it's impossible to go through something like breast cancer and not strengthen your faith, right? So now I want to know, tell me, Ricki, about the beauty in your breakdown. Shameless book plug, people, but I want to know the glory you found in your breast cancer story.
Okay, so let me talk to Faith for a second. So I remember after my first chemo, I got C. diff. It was really bad, like a bacterial infection. It was horrible. And
Mm.
after second chemo, I was like in the toilet. I lost 30 pounds. And so I remember calling one of my best friends, who's my, my faith warrior. And at 4 a.m, Yvette, I don't know what to pray for. And she said, pray for healing. Damn it. What's wrong with you? And so, but I couldn't pray for healing. It just didn't feel right in my spirit. And, my spiritual gift has always been faith. I've done those surveys like so many, like 3 or 4 times that said, my spiritual gift is faith by far. And so I really just had to pray for God's will. And I had to say, okay, God, we're jumping off this cliff. You know what I have on my plate. I got to put this kid through school. I got to support my family. I have things to do in my life. And so let's go. And I relinquished my faith. And I said, okay, whatever happens, happens. It's your will that I'm living. So, okay, God, what are we doing every day? And even today, Dee, I wake up in the morning and either in my bed before I get up, if I can't go paddleboarding, okay, God, what are we doing today? Or I go on my paddleboard like I did today at the sunrise and say, okay, God, what are we doing today? Because everything I'm doing is led by God. I don't even know what I would do. I don't even think about it. It just happens because it's God, right? So, but what I did know very quickly, so I got Haley through college. 2 years went by, finished the chemo, had her graduation, and then I was sitting on the green at Dartmouth with my mom and my good friends and my family saying, okay, God, what's next for me? And I started thinking about, oh my gosh, what is this triple negative breast cancer disease? And I said, I got to help Black women. Like, what's wrong? What's up with this? And so I immediately went to work in advocacy. And I started by working with the TNBC Foundation, and I'm still on the board like 12 years later. But I said, we've got to like focus on what's going on with Black women. And so I really just turned all of my energy into, trying to figure this out. And so I did a lot of advocacy, and then I started to get to know some of the pharma companies for TNBC, Genentech and Gilead, which was then Immunomedics, and work with them and try to meet people. Okay, so what are we doing about this? Like, where are the drugs? What's happening? And then Merck came along with Keytruda, and so I did a lot of kind of work behind the scenes, helping them recruit Black women for trials or doing focus groups or whatever. I'm a marketing person by trade, so I try to kind of make it my business to understand what was going on with the pharma companies and made friends with them. And then in about 2018, a scientist named Leah Scott at the University of Georgia did the first national study on triple negative breast cancer in Black women. And she's the one who identified that Black women get it at 3 times the rate of white women. Wow. And there have been a lot of regional studies, but nothing national in scope and big enough to say, look at this problem. And right. So, and then all the data started coming out. We have a 40% higher mortality rate, that we're getting it younger, and all the horrible stats. And so I said, well, who is looking at this? And being the marketing person that I am, I made a PowerPoint deck. Okay, let's put all the facts in one presentation. And I did, and I put all the horrible facts that, Black women under 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate, die at 3 times the rate. Black women between the ages of 20 and 29 are, 58% more likely to die of breast cancer. I mean, and basically the data identifies that Black women die at a higher rate, no matter what their age, no matter what the stage of the cancer, even stage 0, no matter what the subtype. We have the shortest, the worst 5-year mortality rate and the highest mortality rate for any factor. And so I went to the San Antonio Breast Cancer Conference, which is the big conference, 40,000 from all over, and it's the first week of December. And I went with Haley Dinnerman, my friend from TNBC Foundation. And I started talking to the pharma companies that make our drugs and showing them this PowerPoint presentation. And frankly, Dee, they were blown away. Like even the people that work on these drugs, oh, we knew Black women had it harder. We knew it was a bigger thing, but no one had made this like the picture of how bad and devastating the situation is. And I started calling it Black breast cancer. Black breast cancer is a different disease. We get a different disease than white women. And nobody had talked about it that way before. And I just started being a pain in the ass about it. And then I started to look for the science. So I went back and looked in history to see how many Black women were in the clinical trials of the drugs that we take, like the Red Devil, like Taxol, that gives neuropathy. There were no Black women in those trials. So when we start seeing stuff where our tongue turns black and our nails turn black, and that's just having a white woman, well, it's because they didn't test it on our bodies, right?
Right.
And why do we have a 41% higher mortality rate? Because it doesn't work. The drugs aren't working for us. And I started to find the scientists that were looking at the data to validate that a Black breast cancer cell looks different from a white one. And what is that? We need different solutions.
Absolutely.
And I started like going to pharma saying, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing for us? And how many Black women are in your trials? And 3%, 2%, maybe 4% for Keytruda. Like, what are you doing? Like, the drugs that you're making now aren't even tested on our bodies. So how do you know they're going to work for us? And they don't. And no one could answer my questions. And I just started being a pain in the ass and telling pharma that their baby's ugly. Like, what are you doing? I have no qualms about that. And they started to listen to me. And I feel so blessed. And I know it's all God, Dee, that these pharma companies are now partners. They're giving us funding. They're helping us do this work. They're helping us design clinical trials with them to make them better for Black women. And I really feel like I've been given a seat at the table to do this work. And that's what I do every day. And I beat them up and I tell them to do it better. And I teach them how to talk to Black women. And you know, a lot of the bias, even in clinical trials, is because doctors don't invite us to trials because of racism, illicit bias, whatever the things. And so I can't change racism. I can't change, you know, all the bias that we have in the world. But what I can do is educate Black women. And so that's where I focus my energy and my work is teaching Black women, Black blesties, how to demand the care they deserve, how to ask for the trials, and how to demand what I call the golden rule standard of care. Like, we live in this world of health inequity. There's no health equity. And doctors are not treating us fairly. I hear stories every day about how you didn't know about Keytruda, you didn't tell about this, you didn't do genetic testing, you didn't do all the doctors aren't doing the right things. And so, and I don't know if it's intentional or they just don't even know how to deal with us differently or accept that our disease is different. But to me, we're not going to get to health equity until everybody in our ecosystem practices the golden rule. What your mother taught you when you were 2 years old. Treat others as you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And so I teach women, you go back to that doctor and you say, is this the treatment plan you would give to your mama, your auntie, your grandma, your daughter? Because if it's not good enough for your family, it's not good enough for me. And challenge them and say, how did this thing work on your Black patients?
There you go.
How did this work on your Black patients? Because if they died, I don't want that.
Right.
Give me something else. Use your brain. Or let me help you figure it out. Let's go find a clinical trial for me. Because frankly, if you're a Black woman under 40 and you get triple negative breast cancer, you need a clinical trial. And I am not a doctor. I just play one on Facebook, but you need a clinical trial. It's the best science we have. It's the medicine of tomorrow, but it's the best science we have. And that's what you need to put in your body because this stuff is not working for us.
Can you speak to, Ricki, I love all the educational bombs you just dropped for us today. Like, I'm really going to just push this YouTube episode because there's so much knowledge in there for Black women that I want to make sure that it gets widespread. Can you talk to Black women's willingness to do clinical trials?
Yeah. So we did this research study 3 years ago. We talked to 300 Black blesties. And the main reason why they don't participate is because doctors don't ask them. They don't know what they are. How would you know what a clinical trial is? We didn't learn that in high school science. We didn't learn that. And you don't learn about it until you're in a crisis, right? But the biggest issue was the fear of the unknown. And, people want to blame it on Henrietta Lacks and the syphilis study, and those things are there. There's a trust issue there, but it's really more, I don't know what standard of care is. I think I'm going to get the sugar pill and die. And so no one's explained the science to us. So when you sit down and you say, that Advil you took last week, it was in a clinical trial. That heart medicine I gave my dog Harper, it was in a clinical trial. And you explain that you're going to get standard of care. You're going to get a drug. You're not going to get hung out to dry and get a placebo or get a glass of water. You're going to get a drug that's already available. It's already proven. Now, it may not work great on Black bodies, but at least it's in the marketplace. It's all we have. So you're going to get that drug, and you're going to get either that drug and something on top of it or a new drug altogether. So you're not going to get nothing. And I think that's the biggest fear. And people are afraid, am I going to get nothing? Am I going to be a guinea pig? No, you are not going to be a guinea pig. You're going to get a drug, and then you could get something that could do better than that drug. So you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. And frankly, you know what, Dee? When you did your chemo, you were doing a clinical trial in your own body. You didn't know if it was going to work. You prayed for it. So every day, every chemo that you take, you're doing a clinical trial in your body, because no one knows if it's going to work or not, right? Sometimes it does. For me, PAC, the standard of care, it didn't work for me. My cancer came back. I had to take different drugs. And so we're all doing clinical trials every day with the chemo that we're taking. The benefit of the clinical trial, though, is that you're going to get the best science we have, the latest information we have, and you're going to get the best care, because you're going to get people prodding you, more doctors looking at you. You're going to get more scans. So if you went and started chemo today, you probably wouldn't get a scan for 3 months, right? To know if the drug is working or not. But if you got a clinical trial, you probably get a scan in a month, and they'll be able to say it's working or not. And if it's not working, let's trade you out. Let's give you something else. So immediately see your progression if you have it. And there's like 20 doctors working on you to figure out what to do next. So you really get a better quality of care.
Wow.
And in a clinical trial, and so 80% of our patients are in a community hospital where they may not be doing trials. So, but if you tell your doctor you want a trial, and if you call me,
I'm sorry, Ricki, is that 80% of Black patients?
all patients,
Okay.
probably
Gotcha.
higher for Black patients that are going to Cook County Hospital in Chicago, going to Grady Hospital in Atlanta, going to DC General, DC Hospital Center in DC. But
they're not doing trials.
Yeah, they're not. And so none of them, they may have some, but probably not as prevalent as you would find at a Georgetown or at an Emory or at a, or at a
MD Anderson.
MD Anderson. There you go. So MD Anderson is the trial factory, if you don't have access to it, though, and you want one, we have a portal on our site, whenwetrial.org. We will help you find a trial and help take you to where you need to be in your city, because we have to do this science, Dee. If we don't get better drugs, we're going to keep dying at a 41% higher rate or higher, right? We have to do this, and we have to save ourselves. Black women, it's our job to do everything. We got to get the politicians elected. We got to do all the things. We got to take care of the babies. We got to cook the dinner, whatever. We got to go to work. We got to do all the things. So guess what? We have to take care of ourselves and be the girl boss of our body, be the CEO of your health.
I love that. Like, you have really just educated me on the benefits of clinical trials, because I was ignorant, about the fact that there is no placebo involved, that you could actually get a better standard of care because you have so many doctors looking at you to see if this is going to work, right? That was news to me. I did not know that before today. So thank you.
Sure. Yeah, it's a better care. It's a better, we just have, you're in a center where people are just really focused on you and how your body is reacting to this drug. And you don't get that in regular chemo. They give you the stuff, you go home and you hope it works, right?
Yeah. I love it. Okay. Thank you, Ricki, for educating us on this gorgeous day. So listen, now, dang, I don't even know where to go, but tell me about the beauty in your breakdown. Tell me about some of the blessings that you found from your breast cancer journey.
So many blessings, so many blessings. The first one I think is that cancer freed me. I was in a bad marriage. I was in a bad working situation, and it freed me because so my first meeting with my nurse navigator, she said, Ricki, you are so stressed out. You got to get the stress out of your life. I said, I don't believe in stress. Stress is for wimps. What am I going to do? Not feed the kid today, not go to work? Like, I don't believe in stress. And I was yelling at her. How do I know I'm stressed? And I really didn't believe in stress because my sister would say, I'm stressed. You suck it up. You know, what are you gonna do about it? So she said, well, I said, well, how do I know I'm stressed? And she said, well, how many times a day do you either think or say the word asshole? And I never really said it out loud, but in my head, that was the name I called both my husband of 30 years and my business partner of 10 years, usually with an adjective or two, sometimes with an adjective that starts with F. But all day long, I would probably say it 100 times a day in my head. That's what I called them. That was their name. And so I realized that that was my filter for stress, but they were also cancers I had to get rid of.
Absolutely.
And so I got rid of all the cancers in my life. I divorced my husband of 30 years. I quit my business partner of 10 years. I started my own company on my third round of chemo. Because I knew I could make more money to get my kid through school without having a crazy partner. And I sold my big house in the suburbs of Atlanta. I moved to the beach, and I live in a one bedroom condo on the beach, and I go paddleboarding every day. So I totally changed my life because of cancer. And sometimes I wonder, would I still be married to my bad husband if I didn't have cancer? I don't know, because but I also learned that I was enabling their dependence on me. That was a cancer even I had. That I was my husband, I was the breadwinner for my family. I was the rainmaker for my company, my ad agency that I worked in, but I was enabling them to be dependent on me.
Yeah.
I had to come, okay, I can't do that anymore. I can only take care of myself. And I became selfish and self-focused. All I could help was me and my daughter. I had to get Haley through school and take care of myself. And that was a huge aha for me to be able to let all that go. And literally, I did all that when I was on chemo, which I don't recommend. But I moved from Atlanta to Annapolis, where I live now. But I changed my whole life. And that was a huge blessing for me. I also learned my stress filter. So when I even start to think the word asshole, see you bye, I'm out. Right? So don't piss me off. Like, and I have such a, like, you know how it feels. Like we're badasses now. Like, I don't have tolerance for bullshit. Sorry, right? And I don't accept it. I don't allow it. Whereas probably for years I did. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a caretaker. I'm still a nurturer. I still do all the things and take care of everybody. But I know my limits, and I know when it's stressing me out. I can feel it in my gut. I can feel it in my body that 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 something's wrong.
Yes. It's a feel for me. It's definitely the feeling.
The
Like my
feeling.
body, I can feel it get tense.
Yes, like when you're stuck in traffic and you're just mad. Like I don't drive in traffic. I avoid stress in all ways. If I have a meeting where there's going to be traffic, I change it to an hour later. Like I don't drive in rush hour. I change everything about how I deal with things that are going to stress me out. I don't take it anymore. Right.
I love it. I love it.
That was a blessing.
Same. And our stories,
Oh yeah.
our stories align so much, right? Because like you, I got rid of the stressful job. I got out of the marriage that wasn't supporting my health, right? Because
Right.
it was stressing me out. A little bit of a different story, I was
Right.
hiding in plain sight, right?
Right.
Hiding my sexuality and married to a man. He deserved better. I deserved better. We both deserved better,
Right.
right? And
So proud
so,
of you
like
for
you,
so proud of you. I love your story so much.
thank you. And so, I like you changed my whole life. Like,
Yeah.
let's get rid of all the stressors and let's do things that are going to support my physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
Yes. Yes, you have to. And you have to. I know my breast cancer was caused by stress, Dee, because
I say the same thing,
I
Ricki.
was a happy person. I was internalizing everything. And before I had cancer, I had yeast infections, I had sinus infections, I had all these infections in my body that eventually turned to cancer. But I think it was because I was just internalizing all these things that were stressing me out and not dealing with them. And now I don't worry, I don't stress. I go to bed, I fall asleep instantly. And if you ever hear me talk about having insomnia or not being able to go to sleep or, run for the hills because some bad stuff's going to happen. Because I do not worry about anything. I know God has me and I just sleep like a rock every
You
night.
know what? I'm getting there. And I always say I'm on training wheels when it comes to my faith, right? I just got into this faith walk with God, like deep because of all the church hurt and all the stuff about my sexuality. Long, different story for a different day,
Yeah.
right? But like, I, if it stresses me out, it's got to go,
It's
right?
got to go.
Unless I ask myself if it's worth it. Like if the thing that I'm trying to accomplish is worth the stress. And as an entrepreneur, there are things that I'm like, okay, I got to push past this because I know what I'm trying to accomplish, right? And
Yeah.
so the fear of the unknown, you talked about that earlier. The fear of the unknown as an entrepreneur is a doozy, right? Like you're just like, okay, God, I'm just out here trusting you.
Yep, I got to pay this mortgage, God. Work it out. What are we doing, right? What do I have to do? But you know what? The blessings come. The blessings come. The blessings come. I'm so blessed. When I go paddleboarding this morning, I'm talking to God. I'm so grateful for the blessings. That's what I say to God every day. I'm so grateful. Like I know this is you. Sometimes I think you look up, I'm like, gosh, how did that happen? It was God.
It was God. Absolutely.
Only
So
God.
tell me, Ricki, what it means to you to thrive and how that shows up in your life.
I am thriving in this work. This is my God job. I I don't get tired. People say, "Aren't you tired?" Because I travel every week. I'm not tired, Dee. I'm not tired. Maybe I'll get tired when I'm sleepy. I go to sleep, but I'm not tired because I know this is my purpose. I have three precious grandbabies. They're now 3, 4, and 6, and I'm working for them. Like I got to get rid of this breast cancer stuff before they get boobs. I got
I
about 10
love it.
and they're my purpose. And so I know I have this purpose. I know that we have to change how we think about this. And I know that God put me here to do this work. And I look around and I see, breast cancer has more advocacy groups than any other cancer. And I think it's because it's mostly women, right? We take care of each other, right? As women.
Absolutely.
But no one has been focused on the science. And I see these, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. Well, that's good. But you know what? I want to put myself out of a job. I'm not proud of the fact that I'm doing this for 30 years. I want it to be done with. I want to get to an end game of this. I want it to go away. I want it either to become chronic or whatever they got to do with the science. But I know it's my job to figure out the science for Black women
I
with
love you.
and so that's what I focus on. And it's not even a job. It's just, and my two hashtags that I live by are GSD, get shit done, and DIS, do iconic shit. And
Do iconic shit. I love it.
so I know that the way stuff has been done in the past did not work. It didn't work, right? It did not work. So I know I have to do things differently. I know it's on my wall. I'm blocking my little poster up back there. See, but my hashtags, but I know I have to look at things differently. I have to look at things differently. And so when I think about, and I worked at Coke in marketing, so I kind of understand marketing and advocacy is marketing in a lot of ways because you're trying to get people to change their behavior, change how they think or what they do, right? And so like we try to think of what's the best way to show up and that we like to create interventions with women. So when we go to an event, which we did 70 last year, we've already done 20 this year. When I'm in front of somebody new that I'm trying to talk to about clinical trials, I want her to walk away from me having learned something, having taken something away, having being able to really make it practical in her life, to make a change of what she needs to do. So we try to do crazy things like we're going to do a week in Martha's Vineyard this summer when all the bougie Black people are there, right? So if you're coming to Martha's Vineyard the third week of August, we rented a house. We're going to do BEXA scanning in our house. We're going to do an event. And so Haley made these, crazy bikinis, love of my girl bikinis. And we're going to walk the beach in our little breast cancer bikinis.
I love it.
That's going to get attention and get people to talk to us, and that's what that's what we try to do. What can we do so that women walk away and say, I'm going to change how I think about it. I'm going to learn her story. I'm going to talk to both of my grandmas and learn her story. I'm going to, I'm going to think about clinical trials differently. I'm going to look at my treatment differently. I'm going to ask the questions of my doctor. I'm going to demand the golden standard rule of care.
I love it. I love it. And so one of the things that I'm doing also now is advocating more women to speak up about their breast cancer journey, right?
Yeah.
Because the more we share, the more we educate each other.
Yes.
And so I'm a champion for us getting out there, sharing our stories, much like you've done here today. Like all the knowledge that you've dropped has just been amazing with you. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us what you're up to now.
Right now, today, and I look at every day as today. Today, I'm actually getting ready to go to the White House tomorrow. So we were invited to go to their Minority Health Month kind of conference tomorrow, because it's Minority Health Month, it's April. So I'm going to the White House, and then I'm going to speak on a panel for blackdoctor.org. That's the platform for my show. They do an annual summit. And so I'm focused on going to get my hair cut so I look better to go to the White House tomorrow. But no, I'm focused on, like, what am I going to say on the forum? And we actually were invited to the White House a couple of weeks ago, and we met with the Moonshot team. We were in a Moonshot fact sheet last September. So we have a good relationship with the Moonshot team. And then we met with the First Lady's office now has a program for women's health. And so we applied for that grant, but we met with them a couple of weeks ago. So I want to kind of resurface that and say, okay, what are we doing for Black women? And what can we do from a legislative and, policy basis to change about it? And they're very excited that they recently got nurse navigation approved, but it's really only for patients with Medicare, and so we don't, a lot of us don't have that Medicare and Medicaid. So it needs to go way broader than that, because nurse navigation is so important. And we want to talk about screening, because right now the screening guidelines for breast cancer do not include Black women. They don't include us.
Wow.
There's like a little tiny print. This does not apply to women with high risk Black women. Hello. Getting a mammogram. Wow. And frankly, 40 is way too late for us. So how do we change screening guidelines and make them more realistic for Black women? So all kinds of policy things we can do, but that's a focus. I'm also working on our Touch Care program, and we basically launched this last September also, where we're working on specific trials with pharma companies on specific trials to help them develop the materials, because the materials suck. Their baby's ugly, with words people can spell with that relate to Black women. And I like to say we use the word being culturally agile in how you talk to us. Talk to us, meet us where we are. So developing those materials to recruit Black women. And we just made a video so if you're thinking about a trial, usually the doctor will bring it, or you'll talk to the doctor about it. The doctor will leave the room, and we made a video. So you'll get a QR code on your phone, and you can go on this QR code, click on this link, and get a video of me and Val, our co-founder, talking about the importance of clinical trials and how we can support you with nurse navigation. And we're providing nurse navigation for these trials to not only help you understand the informed consent, talk to your families about it, explain it to your mama, your husband, whoever, and then help you stay in the trial. We're partnering with Unite for Her, so you basically will get $2,000 worth of integrated care services, like yoga, Reiki, recipes, food packages, all these things, so we can help you have all the tools you need to be healthy with the side effects of a trial. So that's focus right now. Lastly, we're also working on, we just started Belong, and you should be part of it. Belong stands for Blessed Empowering Leadership, Opportunity, and Nurturing Growth. And we're trying to build a network in every state of a Black woman-led advocacy program. So you should be part of this, Dee, but in every state, you're in it. So I'll send you the stuff. Go on our Facebook group. We have a private group on Facebook called Belong. But it's to help nurture leadership, to help you stay. And you're good about nurturing other women. But some of us start doing this work and people are dying. And, we just had a 39-year-old die. We had 24-year-olds with triple negative, metastatic triple negative. So how do you cope? And how do you have the tools you need and the resources you need to do your work in the community? Absolutely. So today we go where Black women live, work, play, pray, and slay. And so we're trying to build a presence in every state. And we've now reached out to 90 organizations across 43 states just to help them. We do like a monthly educational webinar. And then every other month we do like a support system call. And we have a leadership coach to help coach us and say, how can I be a better leader? How can I nurture myself so I can cope with this work every day and help more?
Oh, I'm so in. I want in.
And you're in. So we launched that not too long ago, and we're trying to get that going up and going in May, the first webinar. So
awesome. Oh my God, Ricki, this has been so amazing. So let me ask you this. How can listeners get in touch with you, follow you, support what you're up to?
Sure. So Ricki, RICKI at touchbbca.org. Ricki at touchbbca.org. All of our social media is on Touch BBCA, Instagram, Twitter, all the things. We do, the doctor is in every Wednesday. If you go on our website, touchbbca.org, whenwetrial.org, loveofmygirls.org, spelled GURLS, you can sign up. You'll get we send an e-blast every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern time that talks about what's going to be on the show the next day and whatever else we do. Get on our mailing list and you'll get our e-blast. We don't send them, just once a week or so. And unless there's something really important to say. And just come on our show, talk to us, interact with us, get our, check out our social media. But if you want a clinical trial, we have a portal on whenwetrial.org. It takes you in there. We can watch you, and we watch everybody go into it and see where you get stuck. If you get stuck trying to find a match, we have an 800 number. You can call us to help you out.
God, I love you so much.
And we try to be there for everybody. But if you want a trial, email me and we'll hook you up. We'll try really hard to get you into a trial.
I love it. This is going to be.
We go to events everywhere. We send our bags. We send stuff out. We have great swag. If you want our swag, just call us. But we try to show up at every major conference, and we try to be in the community. If you have an event you're doing and you want help, call us.
I love it. Ricki, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the educational bombs and nuggets you dropped. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the Black community for Black breast health, right? Thank you just for walking in your purpose, doing your guide job, and showing up for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I wouldn't know any better. I got to take care of my babies, You know what? So Amanda, my oldest daughter, had a prophylactic mastectomy. It's now been almost 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And because of our history, I don't have any genetic mutations, but we have 3 generations of history. And so, but like, take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Take care of your family. Do the things that we be proactive, be educated about it. Do all the things that you can to take care of yourself. Be the girl boss of your body.
I love it. So this has been another amazing episode of Thriving on Purpose, the YouTube channel. We've spotlighted the amazing Ricki Fairley, who is doing some wonderful things for Black breast cancer. So check out touchbbca.org. Follow them on all of the social media platforms. If you like what you heard, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on your notifications, and you'll get notified of more inspirational and powerful stories like Ricki's. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And remember, we're thriving on purpose. Bye for now. For more inspirational stories like these, please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to turn on your notifications. Thank you for rocking with us. And remember, we're thriving on purpose.